Now that we've finished synthesis question 2, you all should have an idea of how this motor works. For this question, we're going to see actually how fast it runs, and we can figure that out through its angular frequency. There are a few ways to determine that, but for this video, we're actually going to be using a light sensor. So, we have a flashlight here, and we have it set up in a way where the idea is that as the magnet spins, there will be positions where the light sensor sees the light from the flashlight and where it doesn't. And as the magnet spins, it will see the flashlight and then not see the flashlight. In terms of figuring out this frequency, we should think carefully about how many times that's going to happen in a full rotation of the magnet. So let's go ahead and set this up down here so that we make sure the sensor will see the flashlight in a few different positions. The other thing we need to think about for Logger Pro is how we want to set our sampling rate. So if you've read the appendix, you know that we want to aim for at least twice the frequency we expect to get the resolution in our data. That said, this can vary a little bit, and we have to consider how the light is going to affect this calculation. So if this moves at around 20 Hertz, we want at least 40, but just for safety and for resolution in our data, let's try for 400 samples a second. So now we can turn on the power supply and crank it to 3 volts, around 3 volts. And let's see what data we can get. So we had a little hiccup in the middle, but definitely for the first second or so, I bet that we had a pretty consistent frequency. Now, there are a few ways we can do this. We can go ahead and isolate these different parts and count the number of peaks over a certain amount of time, and Logger Pro will tell us the time that we highlighted. But another way we can do this is adding a sine fit. It's going to be a little bit rough, especially if it doesn't detect the points, but once it does, we can try to put on a fit and see how well it works. As you can see, the curve fit lines up pretty neatly with all of these points. So we could use this equation fit to find out the frequency of this graph.